Hey guys, what's up? Scythe here with another World of Warcraft mop video. And today just wanted to kind of talk about an overview of what I've thought about the expansion. I know it's probably a lot of you still playing Guild Wars. I'm still playing Guild Wars and I'm kind of sitting on the fence deciding if you want to buy the new expansion and try it out or not. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I've experienced, the changes, some of the differences that I've noticed between Guild Wars and WoW. I'm not going to go into all the details. But just some of the things that kind of really stuck out to me. This is some PvP footage, level 90 Death Knight. Um, I'll talk about this class a little bit to start with. Some of the changes made to it that kind of, were better than their last expansion. They didn't do everything that I would want them to do to all their classes in the game, but they definitely gave Death Knight some more stance swapping. They can swap between stances, more defense, a little bit more of heavy cooldowns. They adjusted some of their healing abilities. So overall, the class is a lot better. It's not as the best melee class in the game, but it makes it a lot more fun to play it. It's really super hard hitting. It's just ridiculous how hard you can hit people with these killing machines. So that's the first thing I noticed coming into MOP leveling was Death Knight definitely had some more cooldowns. They'd adjusted my class a little bit. It's also though frustrating with Blizzard though because these changes needed to be done about middle way through Cata when they nerfed Hunger and Cold, and then they figured out they had screwed up and they shouldn't have done it. So some of these things are definitely their fault, and you're asking yourself why didn't they fix this stuff earlier. So you have all those still same issues. At least they corrected some of them. Some of the classes are still really overpowered, like mages. They haven't touched them. Still just as powerful as they've ever been in Cata, if not more in MOP. Rogues finally kind of got a nerf hammer. Not as good anymore. They have a lot of major cooldowns, but they're long, so they can maybe burst one person down and then be like on a 5-minute CD. So they have adjusted some stuff. As far as PvP goes, I would say the game is a little bit more CC this target, hurry and burst this person down. It's really not a pressure feel anymore like it used to be. It definitely seems more bursty, and it's just you got to kind of, it's actually a little bit better because you kind of counter other people's burst with your cooldowns. So that's how I'm feeling the PvP is going. You can see in this clip how the bursty is of the DK. One of their new abilities they also gave them to replace Hunger and Cold is it's like a swarm of cold winter that slowly slows the target, and they get 5 stacks. Here it goes right here. It stuns them. I'm not sure if this guy actually gets in stun or dies. Yeah, right there, gets into an ice block. That's a stun. It's not a break on damage. But they kind of, dropped the ball in other aspects because Death Knights really didn't get a lot of new abilities. They just got their stuff retuned, and a lot of classes got new stuff. So they did get to execute, but so that's for the overall feeling of PvP. I'm thinking, just from a Death Knight's point of view, is that we kind of got stuff reworked for the good. Didn't get that many new abilities. We just got new stuff, and they said it was new, but it really replaced the old stuff. But overall, I like the bursty feeling of the game more than the long, drawn-out, wear each other down type of fights. Because you can trade some cooldowns and survive through burst and then be able to burst somebody else down. Now comparing this to Guild Wars is a lot more small based fighting. Definitely I would say Guild Wars, I would say for overall Guild Wars is probably more balanced. There is definitely some huge problems in Guild Wars right now. I was playing the other day, Pistol Whip is still a huge issue. But balancing is, I think, better in Guild Wars overall, but that could be just because the game is so new, we don't know it as well as WoW. So I'm not sure on that point of view yet about balancing between the two games. It could come, out later that, there's, I don't know, Mesmers are just as OP as mages, which they kind of are. So, but overall, from a standpoint, there's two different feels for the two different games. Definitely WoW feels more bursty now. I don't know if I think the other thing is the smoothness of the character. I feel like I have more control over my character and what abilities I'm using in WoW than I do Guild Wars. But that may be just because I played it a little bit more, but also character, how sharp the character will turn on a dime, different things like that is definitely better in WoW. But then in turn, Guild Wars has rolling, other skill-based features that make up for that chunky character feeling. Um, as far as PvE differences, I know I'm showing you PvP gameplay right now, but as far as PvE differences, definitely WoW has a philosophy with their questing. You know, it's the same philosophy. We've been seeing it for how many ever years? 7, 8 years. There's a quest hub. You pick up 4 quests. You go out and do the kill quest. You go out and do this gather quest. You go kill the boss. You come back. Then there's some kind of like special quest, which is like a unique quest, like right on the back of this guy while he's, you know, like on this horse, and you know you're on the back of the horse throwing stuff at enemies chasing you, or um, whatever. So some kind of like special quest, or fly on some bat and bomb something. I did notice leveling in the new Pandaren area that basically those quests come up more frequently. They kind of just adjusted it really. Um, so you have that stale, boring grind, but it seems like it's not as bad as it used to be. It's not like you do like 5 of those hubs, then you do one of those special quests. So they definitely did a little bit of modifying to that system just to make it better. But really nothing has changed. So if you're thinking about going back to the game and trying it out, nothing as far as the questing has changed revolutionary. It's not like you're going to have the same questing experience you had in Wrath of the Lich King basically. Now comparing the two to Wrath of the Lich King, a lot of similarities between MoP and Wrath, which is good because I thought Wrath was one of their best expansions. So they're bringing back a lot of those features of the different daily quest hubs like there were in Wrath, not just Tolbarad simplified it. They actually make you go out into the world and do these daily quest hubs places, and you actually trying to get factional gear. It seems a little bit better than how Kata was at the beginning. And they did stuff like moving PvP vendors and a new continent with like main cities, and you know, less guards for more world PvP. As far as world PvP, there's really not much. You have a few jerks that kill vendors and stuff that aren't guarded by guards. But they're supposed to do a patch, and I'll definitely update you guys on that patch later. You know, when they implement a little bit more world PvP. But so far, none of that has really changed revolutionary. Guild Wars 2 definitely has the best world PvP out. You're not going to beat that. WoW really, it doesn't want to even compete with that. It's not planning on doing any kind of keep siege, anything like that I know of. The thing I would really like to see is just buff like Wintergrasp and Tolbarad to level 90 and just let us duke it out for honor. I think that would be incredible to rework those zones, because those were really fun and really fun moments in the game that I had doing Wintergrasp, and it's just awesome. So I hope they plan on doing that one day, is reworking those. So really, you have to back to the PvE point of view. I was talking about world PvP, questing, Guild Wars. You know, you have the hearts. You go do all these quests. What I noticed about that is both systems have definitely huge flaws. Because Guild Wars, you go do this heart. You're just grinding the same quest basically. It's just like WoW. It has the same style of quest hubs everywhere where you go to these hearts and do this. I find it just as boring, just as bad as WoW. Once you've done Guild Wars questing about 2 or 3 times, it feels the same, and that's why I just could not level any more characters to level 80, and I probably won't ever do another one in WoW either. I did play some Monk gameplay just so I could talk to y'all a little bit about that, and talk to you about the little differences and how that class plays. But as far as questing systems, both are a little bit different. Guild Wars went in a different direction. WoW's is kind of the same philosophy. Just increased a little bit, which is good because the philosophy works and it's a good idea, and there's nothing wrong with it. The Guild Wars, no matter how much you talk it up with the hearts and the dynamic events, you're still not gonna get. It's still no difference. It's still leveling to me. But I'm a PvPer, so that, you know, does affect what I think about the leveling system. And you may like the dynamic events more. But WoW has these little side, like I was saying, little special quests that pop up more frequently. So it just kind of depends on how you want to play. WoW has like every 5 quests you're going to get a special quest. Guild Wars 2 has it when you find it or when you want to do it. So it kind of depends on the player's play style between the two games. So it's definitely, if you're a WoW player or a Guild Wars player, there's, it's not one game sucks or the other one is bad. It's more of a play style. Do you like how the characters move in PvP and WoW, how the burst damage feels, or do you like the more balanced feel, less control, a little bit more skill-based PvP in Guild Wars? Do you like the hearts being in control, a little bit more sandboxy questing, or do you like the quests, the oriented, little towns, that sort of thing? So it's really, you can't judge the two games, the difference between everything. But getting back to MOP, there's definitely been some, improvements. Like I said, they tweaked the quest system a little bit, make those special quests happen a little bit more frequently. They did try and stir up a little bit more world PvP. It does happen when you're leveling. They haven't implemented the full system yet. And Death Knights just do some massive damage with that Cleave Howling Blast. It's just ridiculous. No class feels as good as a Death Knight does in any MMO I've ever played. Nothing fits my play style better because it's basically a melee spellcaster, which is just, I haven't seen it in any other game. It just fits me perfect. But you do so much damage. But back to the point, PvE MOP. Yeah, they've adjusted stuff to make it better. The heroics are more easy, not as hard. I did a bunch of heroics. They're not as hard as the Cataclysmic ones, but they're more enjoyable. I think the dungeons, if you're definitely a dungeon player and you like doing dungeons, MOP is going to fit in perfect for you. Guild Wars, I'm not really a fan of their dungeons. I don't really like it. I like Guild Wars PvP a lot. I don't like their dungeons at all. But MOP is really a dungeon doer's paradise with how they have the dungeons set up, more easier to learn, more fun too. It could be just because they're brand new and I haven't done a lot of dungeons in a long time, but I definitely see more user-friendly, more dumbed down, more fun, starting out, learning the game and just going in there with friends and killing stuff and getting gear. So the dungeon system, I would say, is improved because they've done a lot of tweaks to make it more user-friendly and not so harsh. So tweaks the questing, better dungeons, tweaks the dungeons to make them more user-friendly, PvP more bursty. That's just some of the highlights that I've noticed in the game. I've gone on about this a while and haven't got to all the points. The monk class was a great addition. I like when any game adds a new class. It's more of an action-paced style class from what I've seen. I'm only like 40, 50-ish, so I haven't seen the whole end game how a monk is, but it feels more action-oriented, a lot of rolls, a lot of evasion. So overall, I think they did a good job on MOP. I definitely enjoy playing Death Knight PvP and MOP. I also like playing the scenarios and Guild Wars. But I like the overall feel of MOP. It feels more like Wrath. If you loved Wrath, it's definitely worth coming back to try out, enjoy the dungeons, PvP. I'll have more Guild Wars videos coming out. I may even do a few more MOP videos, PvP. Of course, I'm going to go and test out the new Star Wars update. I believe, is it 1.4? I can't remember. 1.4, 1.5. It's a new update. I'll have a video coming out on that soon, but this was just kind of a brief overview of what I've seen so far with MOP, getting to level 90, testing out a little bit of Monk, explain some of the features, some of the difference. A more polished game is my overall, feedback of the system. just more polished and a lot of tweaks. Of course, new content. So I will talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the video, and